Welcome, everyone. My name is Nari Boyd. I'm the Interim Director for the Boulder County Housing Authority. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to celebrate this collective accomplishment of completing construction for Tungsten Village apartments in Nederland. I really hope that as you watch this presentation today, that you can take the opportunity to feel really good about what you, along with your friends and colleagues, have been working on to bring long-lasting positive change to our community. Tungsten Village is Boulder County Housing Authority's 26-unit apartment complex located in the heart of the town of Nederland in western Boulder County. The building is perfectly located on the peak-to-peak highway, and as a side note, I encourage everyone to take a drive by as you take a look at the fall colors this season up on the peak-to-peak. It's a great property. Today, we'll hear from our leaders, the Boulder County Commissioners and the Mayor of the town of Nederland, whose political will and leadership really galvanized this staff and the community in support of our collective regional goal to bring affordable housing to this special place. And a special thank you to our communications team who's leading our presentation today and who led our Home Wanted marketing campaign that helped so many mountain residents weigh in to support this development. You'll also get to see the architectural design created by Coburn Architects. It really fits in with the town as if it's always been there. And also you'll get to hear about a unique construction approach that our contractor Millender White used. I'll leave that as a surprise for later. A special thank you to our funders, the Colorado Housing Finance Authority, our lender First Bank, our investor Enterprise, the State of Colorado Division of Housing, and our local regional office of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and of course Boulder County as well. All of these funders helped us create even deeper affordability for the residents who will be living at Tungsten Village. I also want to say thank you to our housing leadership, Frank Alexander and Will Kugel, our housing development and operations team who relentlessly pursued this development through the zoning approvals, through construction, and our first virtual lease up. Every member of our community deserves a home in a beautiful location and in a welcoming neighborhood. And to welcome this community today, I'm pleased to introduce our Boulder County Commissioners, Deb Gardner, Commissioner Elise Jones, and Commissioner Matt Jones. Commissioner Deb Gardner, could you please start us off with the affordable living priority and its importance to Boulder County? Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nori, and thanks everybody for being here today. You know, the vision for this event that we're having today and that project that we're inaugurating is started back in 2018 when the Boulder County Commissioners spent almost a whole year developing a set of guiding priorities for the next 5 years. And one of those guiding principles, guiding priorities was affordable living. It emerged as a critical piece of what we wanted to work on going forward. The issue of economic inequality and the lack of access to affordable housing and transportation in Boulder County has made it increasingly difficult for individuals and families to be able to make ends meet and being able to live and work in Boulder County. The Boulder County has been a leader in increasing access to both affordable housing and transportation. And as part of the Boulder County Regional Housing Partnership, of which Nederland is a part, we helped establish a goal of tripling the number of affordable housing units available to a diverse mix of families and individuals with low and middle income by 2035. Tungsten Village is an exciting example of our countywide affordable living priority in action. And now, next, Commissioner Jones, Elise Jones, will talk about the environmental sustainability of this project.
Thanks, Deb. Really great to be here today. One of the many great things about Tungsten Village is that it also includes a focus on environmental sustainability in design, construction, and operation. The project features a photovoltaic solar system It has pervious surfaces to prevent stormwater runoff and has downcast lighting to prevent light pollution at night. The Tungsten Village will also meet Enterprise Green Communities criteria, which, in case you don't know, these are the comprehensive green building standards designed specifically affordable housing to help assure that that these units are healthy and energy efficient. The project team worked really closely with the town of Nederland to ensure that recycling, composting, and green initiatives were met. And additionally, the project provides access to affordable workforce housing in Nederland so that area workers can live in the community where they work and have easy access to transit. And last but not least, the building design echoes Nederland's wonderful mountain community spirit by using a vernacular mountain architectural style and uses natural exterior materials and colors. And I was just up in Ned on Sunday and just was blown away by how good the project looks and also how well it fits into the community. It's very exciting. And with that, let me turn it over to Commissioner Matt Jones.
Well, I agree with you, Lisa. I went by there a couple of weeks ago. It is a great project. Couldn't be more important up in Ned. And it exemplifies our commitment at the county to providing access to permanently, and it's permanent, affordable apartments, which promotes equity in our community. As many of you on this call know, the town of Nederland as a small mountain community, it was deeply impacted by the historic 2013 Boulder County flood. And that had impacts. The natural disaster significantly reduced Nederland's affordable housing, and coupled with the increasing pressure of housing costs in Boulder and the Boulder market, is why Nederland residents are struggling to find stable, affordable housing. Tungsten Village is an important resource to help those that lack affordable housing. Access to the affordable housing is one of the primary ways Americans build intergenerational wealth. Increasing access to affordable housing is a necessary part of addressing inequities and increasing diversity in our community. Our region has expressed our commitment to diversity and inclusion. Now is the time to prioritize access for all to a safe, stable, and affordable home as a meaningful investment in our shared future.
I'm Nari Boyd, the Interim Director of the Boulder County Housing Authority, and I've been involved in the Tungsten Village development since we initially purchased the land up in Ned as part of a broader vision to bring deeply affordable housing to the mountain communities in western Boulder County. And we agreed to locate the housing in the town of Nederland because it really met with the sustainability goals of the county and that BCHA holds, that you want to develop that housing in the town center and take advantage of services and transportation networks that are already in the county and in that community. So I think that was a really important thing, to work with the town of Ned to locate the housing in that downtown corridor. Many people also are familiar with kind of the history of Nederland as and the mountain communities of mining gold and silver is a big part of the history. But we chose the name of Tungsten Village because the history of mining tungsten itself was also a huge economic and also part of the history of the town of Nederland. There were tungsten mine deposits, and tungsten is an incredibly tough material and very resilient. It has a really high tensile strength, and I think that tungsten name and the material itself represents what this community put into this development. They really were strong and resilient, and that kind of is reflected in the name. And throughout the process, when we first started acquiring the land in 2017 in order to build this development, we made a commitment to the community to focus on sustainability, protect the natural resources, and that meant with the building location as well as all the materials and the solar and awesome energy efficiency metrics that we built into the building. And we also that year hired our design and construction team. Boulder County Housing Authority has a long experience working with Millender White through the 2013 floods doing some amazing work. And we also hired Coburn architects who had a great unique vision for what would belong in this sort of rustic chic Nederland town. And so between Coburn and Millender White, it was a great design team. And as we went through the zoning and entitlements process, having that team on board was very important. And what was equally as important was the community support behind this development going through the zoning process. Many affordable housing developments will face resistance due to a lack of information or understanding of what affordable housing can do for your community. And instead of kind of backing down in the face of that community opposition, many community members came out in support for this development, and that really did push it forward. And so that's another type of partnership that we found invaluable, was that the community was behind this development every step of the way, from the beginning all the way through that first shovel in the ground.
Hey, I'm Pete Weber. I'm one of the principals at Coburn. I'm an architect. My role in the Tungsten project was really kind of lead architect on the project, and then kind of helped manage our team throughout the whole process and getting it from entitlement and approvals from the town in Nederland all the way through the complete construction. The design of the project, one of the big challenges that we had is that it's a pretty big building for a small town, and we had to work hard to try to break that building down, still get the square footage that we needed to make the project work and serve as many people as possible, but break the building down in scale so that it fits within the community better. So it's not just a large building, it's broken down, and it actually adds to the quality of the units as well, because there's a little more exterior skin, more windows, and therefore kind of a higher quality living experience at the same time. That was probably the biggest challenge from a design standpoint. The building was designed to meet all the requirements of a set of regulations called Enterprise Green Communities, and Enterprise Green is a group that regulates the sustainability aspects of primarily affordable housing. And the goal there is primarily energy focused, because if we can save energy, we can save heating and cooling bills, which obviously has a great effect on the affordability in perpetuity for a project. So most of our sustainable features in the building are really geared towards that energy side of things. Now, Nederland is a cold place in the winter, and so we have concentrated a lot of our efforts on the envelope of the building to try to get it as well insulated as possible. We have windows that are also high efficiency, that allow heat to come in but not heat to escape. So really, that's where the focus was on the sustainability side, is to spend most of our sustainability dollars on things that directly affect the energy bills for the building and ultimately then the affordability of the project. So probably one of the most important sustainability aspects of the project is where it is in the world. And there's a couple of great things. Small towns are really challenged from a transit standpoint typically, and they're challenged from the fact that most people have cars to get around. Typically you need a car. But one of the great things about small towns is that if you happen to be near the center of that small town, you're near everything. And Nederland is no exception to that. So the location of this project right in the center of Nederland, really, there's two great things about it. One is that it allows the residents to access really all the things you need within walking distance of their home, which is awesome. The other thing that's great about it is we're right across the street from an RTD bus station, and that bus station is where the bus stops as it goes to and from Boulder, and it also goes up to Eldora. So a lot of people in Nederland do work up at the ski area in the winter, so that allows them very easy access to work. So the location of the building really is ideal from a transit standpoint, and that helps the sustainability side and the affordability side that much more, because if you don't have to have a car, you don't have to buy gas for your car, that's a huge benefit for folks that are limited income.
All right, I am really appreciating the videographer. These are the first time I'm getting to see these, and the shots of Nederland in the building are absolutely gorgeous. So thank you to the production team for that. This next video clip is going to illustrate some of the construction highlights. And yes, it was a banner snow year. It was difficult to move forward with construction from inception to the end, and the construction team did an amazing job. We want to thank Millender White Construction for that. And of course, you heard Pete Weber, our lead architect from Coburn Architects, on the building situated on the site as part of our sustainability initiative as well. I'd also like to just take a moment to thank some of our development staff who really worked on the housing, zoning, and development, as well as the Town of Nederland's staff who helped process this project through the zoning approvals as well as through the construction approvals. It's a big project for Boulder County Housing Authority and a really big project for the Town of Nederland staff as well. So we worked really closely with them. I'd like to thank the housing development staff, who was led by Justin Lightfield, as well as Leslie Gibson on financing and manage the design and development team. And also an appreciation to our housing finance and legal teams, both inside the housing and human services, as well as exterior firms who helped work on this development. So next we'll run a video of the construction highlights. Thank you.
Darren Hinton with Millender White, construction executive and senior vice president. Had the opportunity to lead the project from the Millender White side up at Tungsten Village. It's a 36 unit affordable project up in Nederland. Really started with Adam Mack and Nori sitting down and kind of talking about a new opportunity in a little bit more of a remote location. And so from there, we joined pre-construction with Coburn and came up with the design and the product that you see up there today. We kind of had some challenges that we wanted to overcome. Is how do you overcome a project that is remote? And how we do it at Millender White, one of the main things is with prefabrication. And so right from the very beginning, we knew that we had to find a way to do prefabricated wall panels and prefabricated floor panels. We prefabricated the wall panels down here in Golden. Through that, doing shop drawings, working with the design team, the structural engineer, we're able to really fine-tune the quality of the panels to make sure that we're not wasting time when we get up on the job site. We've really built the job completely, both in the computer and at the shop, long before we even show up on site. So that allows us, when we get to site, we're really just setting wall panels. We don't need the same size crews, which is important on remote projects like we had up in Nederland. We have a smaller crew that's up there just setting panels. We have virtually no waste up in the mountains. And so it really reduces that from an environmental standpoint. It is great. And then we also were able to maintain schedule. So things about a mountain project, obviously you have the weather. On Tungsten Village, we had 180 inches of snow over the duration of the project. We even had 1 month in April. This was after the panels, but there was 48 inches towards the end of the job in just a matter of 48 hours. So those are the type of things that we're trying to overcome when we're doing panels. We know that, okay, we can ship them up there. Even if it is snowing, it's a lot easier to do the framing versus individual nailing up of boards and sheathing throughout the job. Another great advantage of prefabrication is the number of nail shots, as we call them, that don't happen on job sites. Right, Netherlands a quiet little town, and we wanted to preserve that as much as we could and really work with the community to not disrupt them during our construction. And so when you're framing, obviously, as anybody's been around it, there's a lot of nails. You're constantly nailing off all the 2x4s to build the walls, 2x6s. And if we can do a lot of that in a controlled environment in the shop, those are nails that we don't have to shoot up in the on the job site. So then it's really just setting the panels, and the thousands of nails that you don't hear through the nail guns is incredibly important to keeping communities a little bit more quiet. So from even just not only the quality and schedule performance, but just the impact to the neighborhood. You go into a project, you try to plan for everything you can, and you really work with your trade partners, you work with the owner, you work with Coburn to kind of come up with how are we going to build this project. And projects have a tendency to throw a curveball, and on this one it was COVID. And so didn't have that necessarily planned into the project, and so it was how do we go react? And really the success of this entire project was how everybody worked together as a team. It really was amazing. And so we all sat down, everybody literally, and said, okay, how do we go overcome this? We've got to figure out how to remain essential. Construction was deemed essential, and so it was something that we could continue to go do. We didn't have to shut down the project, but we had to go do it safe. We owed it to Nederland to make sure that we weren't infecting and bringing COVID into the area, and we owed it obviously to each of the workers to make sure that they were safe each and every day. So we came up with a very company-wide, but we came up with a COVID policy of obviously the mask at all times, washing down the facilities. We actually brought in wash stations, right, for everybody to go do. And up in Nederland, that brings its own challenges. It's freezing up there a lot of times, so the traditional wash stations would freeze. So we literally had like a cattle warmer, like you'd have out on a ranch to keep the water for the cattle from freezing over. We'd put those in the wash stations to keep the water to the point where all the workers up there could stay clean, wash their hands. And because of that proactive approach, we didn't lose any time, and we did not have one case of COVID reported on the project throughout this, which I think is a huge success when something was so as challenging as COVID was presented.
My name is Nick Trout. I'm with Miller White, and I had the opportunity to be the project manager for the Tungsten Village project. Made the decision there to prefabricate or build offsite all the wall panels. And then the unique part of this project that the first time that we have done this on a job was to prefabricate all of the floors as well. And so we panelized those floor systems. So as you mentioned there, the ability to have a greater quality control of the build throughout. You take all of that manpower offsite, working at heights, working off ladders, and you put that in a factory where everyone's working on stable ground, everyone's working on a table in front of them. Much more safe, much more easily checked and managed, and also production wise, very easy to check in on. So able to do that with the wall panels on this project, as well as the floors, which is pretty unique. And the floors, being the first time that we have done that, I'll say the team, the crew there did a great job understanding it, put a lot of work in up front, and they went together very smoothly on site.
Yeah, I think that the construction process is incredibly fascinating, and when the team, just to demonstrate that team commitment, when we went and actually visited the prefabrication site and looked at how the panels would be constructed in the site, we had also scheduled a meeting to select our windows. And our teams, between the architect, Boulder County Housing Authority staff, and the contractor, spent 3 hours just looking at windows, much less looking at the systems and how the building would be constructed in the factory. So a lot of commitment just to making the construction really perfect for Nederland with the high wind loads and the tough construction conditions up there. So a lot of commitment. Next up, speaking of commitment, I'm introducing the Nederland Mayor, Chris Larson, and to speak about his fabulous town board of trustees, as well as his staff, and just how welcoming the community was to this project. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Nori, and thank you to everyone else who is on today. It's just really exciting to be a part of what is a celebratory day for the town of Nederland. Oh, excuse me. I am quite literally sitting here in my home office, and I can look out my window and look towards downtown Nederland, and I can see Tungsten Village. I've been able to watch this project rise up from the ground over the last year, and it's been so heartening to see a project that has been so desperately needed here in Nederland come to fruition. Everyone here in Nederland has recognized the critical need for affordable housing, everything from our residents to the Nederland Board of Trustees. And it's been a goal of our board for the last 4 years to try and do what we can to bring affordable housing to Nederland. But of course, we're a very small town and we have very limited resources. So it's difficult for us to make a meaningful impact on a problem such as big as affordable housing, particularly in the Colorado Front Range, without leaning on and working with our partners. And that's really been an exceptional part of this project, is the partnerships that we've had from our wonderful county commissioners who are on today, and we heard from earlier, to Boulder County Housing Authority, without whom we wouldn't be having this celebration today, to people like Melinda White, who I got to watch this prefab building rise up out of the ground without hearing the, as they said, the nail shots all day long. And it's just been absolutely wonderful. Affordable housing for a town of Nederland means so much. Without it, we run the risk of hollowing out our community, not having places for the waiters at our restaurants or the lift ticket checkers at Eldora to live. And then we would just end up like another mountain resort town, which is absolutely what we want to avoid in Nederland. So having a project like Tungsten Village, 26 new units of affordable housing is so important for us, particularly right now, particularly as we're facing so many other issues, from climate change to COVID to, I could go on for a long time. But I am just really excited to see this new project come to fruition, to be able to thank our partners from the county, from the community, our incredible community volunteers who helped to get the word out about Tungsten Village and ensure that our local residents who really needed this knew about the project and were prepared to apply for the housing that they want. I know one of my neighbors is in Tungsten Village now, and it's so exciting to see him moving into a new place. And to our other groups like the Peak to Peak Health Human Services Alliance, who has been advocating for affordable housing for so many years, and is so wonderful to see it happening. Which just brings me around to, finally, I want to welcome 26 new neighbors, 26 families who now can live here in Nederland. I can't wait for COVID to be over so I can meet you in person and greet you and welcome you to our community, whether you are just moving into Tungsten Village from another place in town or you're new to Nederland entirely. We can't wait to have you as part of our community. And I want to also thank more of our community volunteers, and that's why this is a great honor to pass these virtual microphone over to Dennis Whalen, one of our longtime, highly unsung community heroes, for who has done so much for Nederland. And again, thank you all so much for bringing about what is a wonderful day for Nederland. Dennis, please.
Thanks, Chris. First, a little background. The Peak to Peak Housing and Human Services Alliance, which is an initiative led by the Nederland Food Pantry, brings human service organizations together that serve the western Boulder County and eastern Gilbert County, as well as limited sections of Larimer and Jefferson counties. This is the Peak to Peak region and includes all the communities and unincorporated areas west of the city of Boulder. The people living across the Peak to Peak region enjoy their own culture of independence and resilience. The cost of living in Nederland continues to rise, and folks were needing access to more affordable, diverse housing options to stay in this community that they love. Many long-term members of the Nederland community were having to move away. We were losing our community. Thus, members of the Peak to Peak Alliance viewed this as a significant need and have been involved from the beginning, attending the original presentations for the construction of what has become Tungsten Village. We worked to get community members to understand what was being proposed, worked to get letters and cards of support to the Nederland Board of Trustees, and finally, we've been involved with helping community members getting their applications submitted for a home in Tungsten Village. That is, it's taken much of our community working together to get Tungsten Village, and its success in many ways belongs to our whole community. I want to thank Boulder County Housing and Human Services, and especially Nori, for bringing this project to Nederland and for sticking with us as we encountered all the various bumps along the way. We're excited to have Tungsten Village now available in providing low-cost housing in the Nederland community. Thanks.
Thank you, Dennis. He's so understated and yet such a powerful voice throughout this project, and certainly couldn't have done it without his leadership in the community. Next up, we will see a vision of sort of the transformation that took place on the property, and sit back and enjoy this next video. Thanks.
Welcome to Nederland, Colorado. My name is Christopher Larson. I'm the town's mayor, and I'm really excited to be talking to you this afternoon at the grand opening of Tungsten Village, our new affordable housing development here in the town of Nederland. This development is going to benefit all the residents of Nederland. It's really targeting those people who are, like a lot of people in the Colorado Front Range, struggling to find affordable housing as the cost of living rises so much faster than wages are. So the hope is that this is going to be some of our teachers at our elementary school, servers at our restaurants, town staff, people who need to live in town and who can live in town and just walk to work. This is the perfect development for them, the perfect place for them to live, and something we've been really working towards as a goal for the last 4 years. The average rental of a house up here is coming up on $2,000 for a 2-bedroom house, which is just out of reach of just your average working person. If the person who's flipping burgers at one of our restaurants or serving pizzas can't afford $2,000 a month. So these income restricted housing developments are really critical for holding the fiber of the community together, for really building the community part of a community. When we started working with Boulder County Housing Authority and they identified this site as the potential site of Tungsten Village, it is right across the street from the RTD Park and Ride. And something Nederland did a few years ago was to pass a property tax increase so that all residents in the town of Nederland get free RTD eco passes. So everyone who's now living here at Tungsten Village automatically gets an eco pass, and they have full access to RTD, the bus service. So they can hop on the bus and an hour later they can be at DIA, or they can be down in Boulder or Denver or anywhere that the RTD network connects. So being able to site this where we did, right next to RTD with the connectivity of the sidewalks and the roads, they can get anywhere in town on foot or on bike and then jump the bus to get anywhere down into the metro areas they need. This really just is a great example of how small towns can partner with other organizations. Our partnerships with the Boulder County Housing Authority enabled this to be built here in town, something far beyond the reach and scope of our town government to do. And so it's a really exciting partnership. I'm looking forward to continuing to work with Boulder County Housing Authority in the future to do more projects. And really, I'm just so excited that it's open. I'm so excited for the new residents here. And I really want to say to all of them, welcome to Nederland. I'm excited to be one of your neighbors, and I'm hoping to meet you all very, very soon.
The most important part of this vision is really the residents who are moving in right now. So we at Boulder County Housing Authority we're so appreciative of you, the residents, faith in us and in this community, and being a part of this vision, and for making Tungsten Village your home. Just want to appreciate you, the residents. Thank you.
On behalf of everybody at Miller & White, thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this project. We welcome you to your home, and we hope that you really enjoy it.
All right. Well, boy, I got caught up in that myself. It's so much fun. I hope that you can see that all the presenters on this team had a great time doing this development. Thank you to our presenters. I'm so proud of what our community has been able to do by working in partnership so closely together. Let's do it again very soon. Special thanks to our awesome, excellent new residents living at Tungsten Village and to our lease up team leasing up right now as we speak. And just everybody, so glad we could get together and share a bit of joy amidst these times and just have a wonderful day. Thanks.